Hello and welcome to Art History 101. This is my YouTube channel. If you happen to be looking for underwater basket weaving, it's 2 doors down on the left next to the kiddie pool. My name is Christopher Luedke and I teach at a couple of different schools up here in the Great White North of Wisconsin. I am a college instructor. This is my course material. Why? Well, I was a C student in art history and studio art in my undergraduate. And the problem is this: sitting in a dark room, the perfect place for a nap, listening to a lecture, trying to take notes, never remembering everything, and then having a textbook that is basically an impenetrable wall of text. And so I decided to do something foolish. I went back to grad school, I studied art history, and then I started teaching. And this is not me, but it's basically what happens in a classic art history classroom. One goes in, shows a couple of slides. They're PowerPoint now instead of actual slides, but it's the same principle. Dark room, lots of lecture, not very useful. Add to that, the textbooks are incredibly difficult to read. It's not exactly the sort of material you sit down on with on a Sunday afternoon. And the fact that the textbook costs $200 or more. So I decided to do something a little different. I turned to the University of YouTube and created a YouTube channel. So why do this? What is it? And what is the point? This is not your typical YouTube channel. I do not post on a weekly basis. I am not trying to find views or subscribers or anything else. Instead, what you're seeing is my lecture material. This is my material put out there for free. The only difference between you and a student in my class is how much you pay for it. You're getting exactly the same content. This is my way of giving back and trying to make art history something that's accessible to everyone, not something that somehow separates one class of people from another. The courses that are included here are World of the Arts, which is a general introduction to the arts and art history. You'll find that under World of Ideas, and there will be a playlist coming shortly over the summer called World of the Arts. And then you will find it under different surveys. I cover ancient to medieval, Western, Renaissance to modern Western, non-Western art, which is still being finished, and modern and contemporary, which is really 1863 to present. And there's a couple of reasons I'm doing this. One, it makes it available to everyone. Two, for my students, you can go back and see what was in the lecture on those days that you weren't paying attention or you had to take a nap or you just missed class. The fact that you are, for some reason, focusing somewhere else should not preclude your ability to access the material. So, how do you use Art History 101? Because it's laid out, again, a little differently than what you tend to see in other YouTube channels. It is made up of a series of playlists, and those playlists are basically chapters for each course, and you can go through chronologically. For example, looking at Europe and America, 1870 to 1900, or Europe and America, I believe it's now the United States and Mexico, 1900 to 1945, and Europe, 1900 to 1945, etc. You can go through chronologically that way. In ancient, I'm generally looking at civilizations, so we have a playlist for the Greeks and the Etruscans and the Romans. Each one, the videos are in a specific order, so that you're starting at the beginning with that culture or time period and moving towards the present. You can follow the entire course all the way through. You can also decide to go in and look for something specific. Now, obviously, I don't cover every artist who has ever existed, nor do I cover every painting. That would be impossible. But all of my videos for the last couple of years have been organized by artist and title. So if you give me an artist, I'll tell you which pieces, if you search in the channel, you can find which pieces I cover. And you may find that I cover the same artist multiple times. Maybe I cover them in modern and contemporary, but I also cover them in Renaissance to modern. One may have more depth or more information. That's not necessarily a bad thing. The idea here is to take information that is usually saved for the hallowed halls of the ivory tower and bring it down to the people. This is not your usual YouTube channel. This is a library, and it should be treated that way. When you need information, you go and find it. If you have questions, you can ask. I do try to keep an eye on comments every couple of weeks, but for the most part, it's just me putting information out there. First, for my students, and second, for the general public, so that they can better understand the art and visual culture that surround them on a daily basis.